Jean-Claude, how are you and where are you today?
Hello, everybody. Hello, I am in Switzerland. I am in Lausanne. I had an important meeting today with very, very clever and good watchmakers for my brand. I'm coming close, you know. The first watch will be launched probably mid-March 2023.
Oh, that's already news. That's already news you're giving us.
The first watch we're going to launch, foreseen for 2023, mid-March or end of March.
Fantastic. So
the whole day we were the region of La Chaux-de-Fonds, Le Loc, and visiting suppliers. Tomorrow we are visiting dial suppliers. We saw hands supplier, which is very important. So we are on track. We are not in advance, but considering the difficulty of the supply, the shortage we have in our industry, I'm very pleased that we are in time, and we're not late, we're not in advance, but we are in time.
Well, also because you are setting your goals and your schedule, I believe, no? I mean, 2 years ago, you and I were talking, and you openly said that you didn't even know if you wanted to do a brand with your name on it. And now, 2 years fast forward, you actually, it's happening, and you are back in a game. This is assuming that you've ever been out of the game, because you can't be out of the game, can you?
Yes, this is assuming, as you said, assuming I'm not out, but I am out of my responsibilities at LVMH, watch division. I realized that I cannot retire from my passion. I can retire from the job. I can retire from hierarchic responsibility. I can retire from a position in the watch industry, but I cannot retire from my passion, because passion, it's my life, and it gives to my life a reason. It gives to my a reason to live it. And without passion, I would be like a dead man, and I want to die later, not now. So let me be alive for the moment. Let me accomplish my last desire, my last dream, my last achievement. Let me transfer and transmit to my son and to other young people all my knowledge, because that's the main reason why I should still be active, is to transfer knowledge, to transfer experience, to transfer emotion, to transfer all my knowledge, my 50 years of experience. This has to be given back. I should not take it with me in my grave the day I die. I must leave once I have transferred all my knowledge, even my mistakes, also my successes. All this has to be given back. And as long as I have not finished to give back, I want still to be alive. So
Absolutely.
It's not now that I'm going to die, it's later.
Absolutely. Especially after what you've been through last year. I know, obviously we all know about your accident. It must feel a bit like a new beginning, Jean-Claude. We are moving to our new office today, which is a small little thing, but I was walking through the door today, and I've been doing this, only for 20 years now, but I had that rush, that excitement. I felt like, again, it feels like a new beginning, and I felt excited, like the first day, even more so today, because it's my own project. Does it feel very much the same for you? It's a new beginning.
It feels 100% the same. It's a new beginning. It's a new adventure. And there's an additional emotion that I have my son. you know, it's father and son together. I see my son now every day. I never saw him so often since I work. So this is an additional emotion. Papa and son, father and son. And this gives me an additional emotion, which is extraordinary. And I can feel what you are feeling, because at the end we are feeling the same, just in another dimension, but we are feeling exactly the same. And this is, at the end of the day, I would say, that's my privilege. I am getting old with privileges, not with pain, but just with privileges. And the privilege to have your son, to give back to your son. That's a fantastic.
It's so good, Jean-Claude. I also have a son, he's 14 years old, and he's asking me about the watches, and I'm not pushing him at all, but he can see what we're doing, he can see the passion that we try to transmit, and little by little he's investigating, trying to understand more and more. I have no idea if he will be involved one day in what we do, but the prospect of it gives you extra energy. It's amazing.
Exactly, and don't force him. Let him choose as he wants. Let him go where he wants. Don't force him. But okay, brilliant. I'm looking forward to the questions.
Perfect. So the first one, yeah.
Any question is welcome. People should not be shy about the questions. There is no private, there is no professional. They are just questions.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we are ready with the first one, Jean-Claude. How exciting is watchmaking today? And this was a question coming from the US. Watchmaking today compared to, you are a bearer of 50 years of history in the world of watchmaking. So compared to what you have experienced in the past.
What we did 50 years ago is still extraordinary alive and is still extraordinary present. 50 years ago, the haute horlogerie was one of the elements that was not hurt and not hit by the quartz revolution, the haute horlogerie. But the haute horlogerie is still not the same, but is still extraordinary, active and alive. I'm amazed how much certain strategies with Blancpain in 1980 are still active, are still valid.
That's a great, yeah, which I totally relate to that, because everything is completely interconnected to between what we're living today. What we're seeing today couldn't be there without what's happened, obviously, before. Jean-Claude, there's another specific question I just have seen popping in regards to your new brand. Which suppliers are you using for the decoration of your timepiece? I don't suppose you're able to share this information now, but anyway, that's the question.
The decoration, the finishing, the decoration is most probably of an extraordinary importance. I want to make the invisible visible, the invisible visibility, which is called the decoration. For instance, a dial, the back of the dial is never decorated because you never see the back side of a dial. You see the beautiful dial in enamel or with diamonds or very beautiful stone like sodalite. But at the back of the, it never, or let's say in 99% of the cases, is not decorated. And that is what I want to do. I want to have the same details, but the decoration should be all the parts of the dial, not only on the visible side, but also on the invisible side. And that's the beauty of the art, is to master all the invisibility. Whatever you cannot see with your eyes, that's what I want decoration. That's what I want to master. The invisible visibility must be mastered. That's the real art. That's the art at its summit.
But you can't mention obviously the artisans that you are using in this specific.
No.
For now.
For now. Later. Now it's too early. I must.
Yes. Yes. So there's another question. So thank you very much. This was from a logo back dude. There is a question, another one, in regards to gender. There is a lot of conversations, Jean-Claude, about 50 years ago, 40 years ago, even when I started in the years 2000, there was a very, very defined distinction between ladies' watches and men's watches. I remember one of the first brands that kind of crossed that line. I remember I was a rich one, it was Panerai. Panerai became a very unisex kind of luxury timepiece. And surprisingly, ladies started to wear timepieces that were maybe more supposed to be for gents. And we all realized in those days that maybe there isn't such a distinction as we make out. So the question is, should there be men's and women's watches still these days, or just watches? What's your position on that? And this is from Cat Club.
My position is, should there be Ferrari cars for ladies? Should there be Porsche cars for ladies? No way. There is nothing more beautiful than a lady in a great Ferrari or in a great Porsche. So should there be jeans for ladies or for men? No. I believe that the concept of a small watch and the very small watches were called ladies is over. And why can a man not wear a small watch? Why not? And why can a woman not wear a 38mm watch? Why not? Today, a watch, that's the importance. It's not the size. The size is adapted by everybody's taste. In certain nationalities, they like big watches. In other countries, they like smaller watches. A watch, it doesn't exist. Eventually, playing with the color of the dial, like playing with the color of the car, it can be more adapted to the taste of women or man, but it doesn't mean it's a lady's watch. It's just a watch, or it's just a car with a special light blue color on it. So what?
We often, I totally agree, Jean-Claude, and we have been saying this for a while. However, still you see, when it's the time of the release of the new collections from many, many brands, you can see these diamond set, stone setting, and then always, you know, managers mentioning, yeah, and this is the ladies version. So I wonder if these are the last days for this kind of practices.
Slowly, it will be the last days, but it's not a compliment. Every watch should be for women, and every watch should be also for men. It's just a question of taste. And I tell you, in the car industry, I don't know any car that is made just for ladies.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
There is no separation. It should just be a watch, and it is more tasteful by man than from women. So what? That's not the problem.
Absolutely. Okay, we're doing well. We have already answered three questions, so I'll move on with the next one from Ali Serim. Ali Serim is asking something complex, Jean-Claude. We see if we can keep it compact, but it's not easy, because he's asking if the policy and the strategies of pushing scarcity and waiting lists as they happen, which sometimes are natural because there is a natural scarcity of the product, but sometimes are also artificially generated to create demand, are rather a negative practice, or they have some risks. What do you believe? What's your opinion on that?
Whatever has been made or whatever has been influenced will never last for long. What lasts for long is what is natural. what is a natural process. You cannot speed up. Yes, you can speed up for a certain time, but long term you cannot. And if we have a certain shortage today, it's a good sign, but on one hand, it's also a bad sign, especially when the shortage comes from speculators. And that watches are bought by a few speculators. Okay, why not? It's the same in picture, the same in furniture, but there must be a limit. If if it's too much artificial, we should be careful. That is why when prices are going up at the speed they go up now, I recommend to buy. Yes, why not? But please be careful. Don't fall in the trap and don't be overexcited. It's good to buy. Bravo. Thank you very much for our industry. But be careful, because you must know that what goes up quickly might come down quickly. And whatever comes down quickly can make big damage. So don't in the trap of going down, be in the trap of going up. And if you feel it's going down, be very, very careful.
Absolutely. On this one, we have a question from our editor, Johnny. Johnny McElleran from the Watch Press. Jean-Claude is also the man that organized very successfully the Festival of Time in Ireland 2 weeks ago, which was a great success. 15 contemporary watchmakers that you never see together in a watch exhibition attended. You know, names such as Paul Gerber, Andreas Strehler, some of the Bernard Lederer, VNA Alter, etc., etc. So this is a trip for you next year, Jean-Claude, if you fancy that. It was really amazing at the Museum of Time. But yeah, Johnny is asking, also in relation to what you're saying, what about the practice of flipping then watches? So buying just with the idea of then speculating. In the end, is something that is so how can I say, incorporated to the way that watchmaking is marketed, that is, it has to be accepted, or is something that you believe brands should actively contrast?
Okay, first thing, I'm looking forward next year to take part in this exhibition. I really want, and I can even commit now that next year I will be there. Secondly,
fantastic, great news
about flipping, etc. The market is done majority by flippers or speculators. That's not healthy. If there is a portion, 10%, 15%, okay, why not? You can never avoid this. But we should be careful, and people should buy, if I can say that, for the good reason. And the good reason is the emotion a watch gives you, the good luck a watch brings you, because watches are a little bit like precious stones. They bring you a soul. In every mechanical watch that is handmade, if it's a small watchmaker from Ireland, if it's a great watchmaker from Vallée de Joux, there is always a soul in the watch, and the soul has value. And the soul brings you happiness. The soul brings you positivity. The soul brings you health. That's important. These are the good reasons to buy a watch. If the only reason is to double your price in 6 months, go to the stock market. This is a market that is made for speculators. Our market is made for collectors. Is made for people who love our art. And speculators, you can never avoid them. But it's a question of proportion. If 50% are the speculators, then we are in the wrong business. We should have maybe 10%, 5% speculators. It's like people who bought this Omega Swatch. In the beginning, I saw from a window from my hotel a lot of people. And then I went down. But we realized that the queue was made by speculators who were trying to buy, to resell.
Yeah.
Not good.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry, if people made money for it, good for them. But in general, as a general opinion, I'm not so much in favor of this.
Absolutely. It makes also our job difficult from our small perspective, because we spend our time promoting, you know, the art of watchmaking as we are passionate about. And then when clients call us up to ask, oh, so can I have one of those watches? And then you have to say, oh, no, sorry. It's a bit weird and it's a bit awkward, but we are here to always share as many information as possible and to give people the opportunity to pre-order, pre-book. So we try to make that process easy. Jean-Claude, there are a couple of questions, quick ones. One of our followers is asking, Gorilla Mexico is asking when we will have the pleasure to see you at CR in Mexico. Do you have any plans to introduce your brand there, maybe next year, for example?
No, I will already come this year. I will not introduce my brand. I will introduce my philosophy. I will introduce my concept. I will introduce my art, but I will not show it. I will introduce it with my mouth, with my language, with my bad English. But I want to be at the CR. I love Mexico, and I promised that I would come. I would do a conference. I would explain during 1 hour what is my art about, what are we doing, why, and who is helping, who is on the board, who will distribute the watches, how many retailers will have, etc., etc. But I will show nothing. The first watch I show is on the day I own 10 pieces at least that I can distribute to 10 to 15 brave collectors stores that are supporting me, that have helped me and supported me for the last 50 years. And I want to sell every watch only through these 10, 15 retailers. It's my way to say thank you to them. It's my way to say, hey guys, you have supported me during 50 years, in the bad years, in the good years. This is now, I am producing watches just for you. And never sell on the internet. I will never sell to anybody except you as the founding members of my community. That's my dream. And this is a message I want to give in Mexico during this year.
Fantastic, fantastic. I wish I was there 50 years ago, Jean-Claude. I wasn't there, but I'm trying to catch up with what I can. But you know, the limited edition is there for you. And if you are in London once and you want to share that message here in London, we can set up that for you with great pleasure.
Yeah, in November I come to London and I explain, I do the same. Yes,
fantastic.
I'm interested
Fantastic.
in London.
Brilliant.
People, and probably you know it, my wife loves London. My wife loves England, loves the English mentality, loves English people, and same for me. We are in total admiration of the English mentality, of the English flair, of the English politics. I mean, we are like English people. We love England.
Welcome. Welcome to the family, as saying from an Italian man, obviously transferred into England. Jean-Claude, I have a nice, a different kind of question here. I don't know if you can answer this one, but it's quite funny, I find, if I can pin it for you. Is from Hublot Glenn. So Glenn, probably from Norway, is saying that he remembers him bringing some Norwegian cheese to you at one point. And he wanted to know how much you enjoy that and how much you're into cheese still, of course.
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. I enjoy cheese in general, and I'm not an Ayatollah in the sense that I only like my cheese. That was perspective. It's like watches. I not only like my watches, I love watches in general. That's why my collection is quite large. It has Patek Philippe, it has AP, it has IWC. It has Vacheron. There are many other brands, and people sometimes are astonished. hey, how come you wear not your own watch? I say, because in life, there is not only my watch, and I am open-minded, and I must show to people that I am open-minded, like large. And the more you have the choice, the more you get richer, the more you understand. And it would be too bad if I only wear my watches, if I only would eat my cheese. So I love the Norwegian cheese, but I also love the English cheese. And my Bamford offered me an incredible cheese. I don't remember, it was 5 or 6 kilo or even 10 kilo. It was a marvelous cheese. I don't remember the name, but voila. I love, in general, food. If it comes from Italy, if it comes from Spain, if it comes from France, it doesn't matter. I just love it.
I wonder if it was Stilton cheese, which is a local cheese here where we are. Was it Stilton? Yes.
That was it.
One of my favorites. It's a bit like a vintage gorgonzola kind of thing.
It was
Really,
like Coca-Cola. It's wonderful.
yeah, I love it.
It had this taste, and it was on addition. It was wonderful.
It goes really well with a glass of red wine as well.
It was wonderful. It was one of the best cheese I ever had.
Yeah, yeah, really good. Really good. It's made here in our area, like 15 miles from here. So it's, yeah, I know it very well. So going back to the politics of watchmaking, Jean-Claude, what do you feel about brands recommending implementing to sell only to residents instead of international clients who may be traveling for holiday or to another country? Translating this question, brands sometimes they want to control everything, including where clients are supposed to treat themselves and buy their own watch, which we think is a sacred right of the client to do wherever he wants and however he feels the service is good enough for him. But what do you think about this tendency that some brands are showing to try to be able to control that?
I should never control your customers. You should control your brand. You should control your product. You should control your quality. You should control your availability. You should control your stock. You should control your innovation. But who are you to control the customer? The customer is the king. Who controls the king? Maybe God. And that, so I not recommend to control the customer because I cannot imagine controlling the king, because customer is the king at the end of the day. And wait till business slows down. 2 years from now, I hope even later, people will suddenly remember, hey, the customer is at the end of the day, he's the king. And I must respect him. I must love my king, serve my king. I must please my king. And who am I to control my king? Who controls Elizabeth? Who controls her? Nobody. I mean, eventually God controls. That's it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And thanks to Mac Christie for this question. And it's quite amazing because, of course, Jean-Claude, I mean, you are here talking to us very humbly and very, you know, les pieds sur terre, as we say in French. But you have obviously covered the highest positions in the world of corporate watchmaking, where you've been in charge of the highest level strategies and strategic decisions, of course. You know, the last position, just to mention one, as the president of the LVMH watch department. So you know exactly what you're saying. So is there a way? I mean, this is maybe a bit too much and a bit of a stretch, but the small independent watchmakers, in the approach they have towards their client, is there something that possibly the big brands need to incorporate and to learn a little bit better? Do you see some kind of link there?
Yes, I see a few links. One link, the innovation potential of independent watchmakers is very big, and there's a reason. They know they can only survive with innovation. They can only survive with quality. And that's why quality and innovation is very strong among these independent watchmakers. Then number two, they know that the customer is their king. That if the customer, he is making the sunshine or he's making the rain fall down from the brands. From a big brands, it doesn't matter so much. But from small brands, you must be very careful with your customer. You must treat your customer. You must serve your customer. You must respect your customer. And that is something we can always learn. We are never finished to learn how much we need to respect, how much we need to serve, how much we need, in fact, at the end of the day, the customer. Because as big as you are, if one day customers are stopping to buy you, you are no more big. You owe it to the customer. So these are elementary elements that in the when time is too good, that people tend to
it sounds logical.
They tend to believe the success is due to them. Today the success is nearly everywhere, and even if I may say now something horrible, even weak brands, they look now strong because customers are buying, and there's a buying frenzy, there's a buying craziness in the market. So please, if you are weak, if you are not so good, don't believe you are because you are now successful. There will be a judgment one day, and take advantage now to improve yourself, to make everything better, because now time is on your side. One day time will be not on our side, and that day we must be ready. So be ready for the day that will come where time will not be on your side.
And it sounds a bit like too metaphorical, if you like, or too abstract, but the art of watchmaking is one of the most human arts and crafts that you will ever find. So the fact of treating and considering your clients as humans, as individuals, I find in what we do is one of the real keys of then establishing a good connection with clients in general. But you're right, when times are easy, these things are easy to forget in a way. In regards to that, Jean-Claude, there is a question from the watch curator saying, given, as you were saying, this big success of the independents at the moment, what are you trying to capture with the introduction of your brand? So which niche are you looking at within the realm of independent watchmaking?
I will give you an answer that is not 100%. Because I don't want to give a more detailed answer. But I want to produce, to sell, to promote, to enjoy everything that I have to be in a situation to enjoy during 50 years. And during 50 years, I had the privilege to see so many things, to have so much success. But there were always some things that were missing. And today I want to make a brand where nothing will be missing, where everything will be matched. Where, for instance, I had very often price limits. I was limited by prices, although at Jouvenot we did a 4 million watch cost 4 million. But we had always budget problems. Not problems, but budget limitation, which is normal. We always had production limitation, which is normal. So the limitation after 50 years, I don't want any more. Gone. No limit. I want to work a brand that has no limit in quality. Whatever it costs, it doesn't matter. How long it will take, it doesn't matter. We want to be free, and I want to be the server of I want to be the apostle of the art. I'm not executing. I want to be the reference of the art. And for that sense, I want no obstacles. I want no limits. Whatever were my limits before, they will now disappear, and I will open. Wow! I want an open field. I want to go full in my art. Whatever the consequences, whatever the price, whatever the time is needed, I don't care. And that is my last privilege in life, is to achieve that degree at the end of my life. And thanks God, I achieve it at the end of my life and not at the beginning, not in the middle, because it's at the end of my life that I deserve it maybe a little bit, and that I enjoy it a lot.
You have it in your blood, Jean-Claude, because in my small experience, 20 years, I was before in a corporate world, and then I decided to go with my own legs only when I turned 40, and it felt like crazy, crazy risks to take. So I know exactly how much it takes to have that kind of independent mindset. But you showed it, you know, when you were very, very young, on the back of your experience with, obviously with Piguet and other mentors of yours. But very, very quickly you have started to roll out this very independent mindset. And yes, it doesn't matter how, you know, for you it came very quickly. For me, it took a bit more time. But in the end, when you go through it, you know that it's the right path, I have to say.
And it's never too late.
Yeah. So in that respect, you are a great inspiration, not only for me personally, for many of our audience, our followers, and thousands of people. The youngsters, they look at you, Jean-Claude. Today, watchmaking has seen, like you said, resurgence, resurrection, or, you know, renaissance that is unbelievable. So people are looking into, shall I be a watchmaker? Shall I set up my watch brand? So we have a question from Dominic Abele that we have just pinned. What are your recommendations for founding and building a new watch brand? I'm a young architect and designer from Germany. I got a lot of ideas. Thank you.
Yes, it's not, you know, to have ideas, to be creative, to be innovative, doesn't mean you are ready to handle and to manage a brand. A brand is not just innovation. It's not just new ideas, new colors, new concept. A brand is like a family, is like with a lot of consequences, with a lot of domains. So don't be too much influenced by what you think about yourself. Be a little bit more shy, and try to find a reason. Why would a customer buy my brand? What do I have to do in order to have somebody to buy my brand? And that question is valid for a 20-pound watch, but the question is also valid for a 2 million pound watch. Why would a customer spend 20 pounds to buy my watch, or why would he spend 2 million? And that is the question you have to answer. And then you have to check if your answers are correct, if they make sense, if they are real, if it's, and once you have covered all these questions, then you must also answer the question, who can help? Because I can achieve nothing if I am alone. If I would have been alone in my life, I would not be speaking to you. So my success, at least my personal success, is the success of my people. I had so much help during 50 years. I had millions of hours of help, millions of hours of help. And it was help that I was asking for. It was help that I tried to respect, that I tried to keep. So that is another aspect. With no help, you can achieve nothing. And you see, the Beatles, they had a song called Help. They had a song called All You Need Is Love. With a few songs of the Beatles, you can build the philosophy how to handle the brand. It's not much different.
Yeah, there's also one called Yellow Submarine. I don't know if that could help as well. If you let me, Jean-Claude, I want to recommend to this friend, Dominic. Thank you for your question. Very interesting. There are some amazing German watchmakers at the moment, you know, not only the likes of obviously Marco Lang or Lang & Söhne or Lang & Heine, for example, but on our platform we have Kudoki, Felipe Pikulik, all sides of German watchmakers that have achieved great success at the moment all in different ways. So I think a lot of inspiration can come from your own country for that very matter. I'm scrolling, Jean-Claude, we could talk for ages about certain topics. Again, the Disruptors is a broadcast with a special host, special guest, Jean-Claude Biver, that today is answering your own questions. So if you are in the mood, you are free to post your question, and in the last 10 minutes that we have, we will try to answer. So there is a few here. I'm just okay. So there is one asking, how are you planning to roll out the distribution of your brand? But you've already answered that. There is somebody saying there is too much money in the world today, but in the near future there will be not as much as these days. Of course, we don't know about that. Nobody knows, I think. In terms of
there's a lot of money out today, yes, but there are a lot of people who need the money.
Yeah.
So we have contrast. On one side we have a lot of money, and on the other side we have a lot of people who would need the money. So the money is not so well distributed.
Absolutely. So there is a question about your past experience at a small brand called Omega, Jean-Claude, and our friend Risto is asking, how did you get the crazy idea to involve 007 marketing into Omega at the time? Do you want to give us a bit of a recap of that?
It was not such a crazy idea, because I read Jan Fleming books, and Jan Fleming was describing in this book that James Bond had a Rolex watch on his wrist. And I said, wow, that's a great promotion. And I was 100% sure that Rolex was behind this. But I found out that it was just the film producer and Jan Fleming. They decided that the James Bond would wear a Rolex, but Rolex didn't pay for it. Nobody paid for it. And I said, if I can get Omega place Rolex, and I will make a proposition to the producer that we can give a certain amount to wear a watch, and they agreed. So it was not so difficult. It was just from a mentality point of view, it was not so great from me, because normally you should never steal an idea from another. So it was James Bond in the books. It was written that he had a Rolex on the wrist. And then I checked, and he had a Rolex on the wrist. And I said, but maybe I should help Omega to enter James Bond, and that will give a great coverage to Omega. And that's what we did.
Do you think, because these days, I always say, when you build your knowledge about independent watchmaking in particular, you don't need the reassurance of a big celebrity wearing a particular watch for you to feel safe that you have spent your money in a good way. But still, we are in an era where actually brand ambassadors are still very relevant, especially for the big brands. So do you think it's related to the volumes that you need and you want to push out there in the world, rather than necessarily how can I say, how important celebrities are to understand watchmaking?
It is clearly linked to volume, clear.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
produce, like me, in future, 30, no, let's say 50 watches per year, why would you go on James Bond? Why would you go to football or rugby or whatever, or in Formula One, when you sell 50 watches? Because these events are not made for 50 people. It's millions of people worldwide. So you must have a worldwide brand like Omega, like Rolex, to take advantage of it. Because if not, you put money and you cannot get return because you don't have the markets. So it's a nonsense to go with a small brand in a Formula One event or in James Bond.
Is it? And do you find, it's very clear, and do you find simplistic the idea that if you really are into watches, if you really know your watches, there is no such a need of a celebrity. I mean, yeah. Do you see watch collectors still kind of being interested in that kind of reassurance, or it's just something that is still working?
The best answer is the one I gave when I was the owner of Blancpain. One day, somebody asked me, why don't you go in Formula One, or why don't you go in James Bond, etc. And I said, with Blancpain, in those days, I have so many ambassadors that I don't see a reason to pay one of them to wear my watch, because my ambassador are all my customers, and we are selling 13,000 watches. So I prefer to have 13,000 ambassadors than one that I have to pay. I have 13,000 people who are wearing my watch, who show my watch to the whole world, who are eating in a restaurant, who are talking to friends. So my ambassadors, I have 30,000. Why do you want I take only one? I am richer than anybody because I have 13,000 ambassadors. Every
also
my ambassador.
Absolutely. And also, when you implemented those campaigns, for example, with Omega, there wasn't, I mean, the communication world was very different than today, where, as you know, esteemed entrepreneurs or businessmen or normal people that just like watches can be out there like we are now, you and I, talking about how much they like a watch without being paid for it. And that becomes real endorsement, and there's nothing more valuable than that. Of course, back in the days, the celebrity was the bridge to then reach a certain critical number of people that otherwise would have no clue that that watch even existed, you know, I guess.
You know, when I bought in 2004, in June 2004, 1st of June 2004, and in July we had the watchmaking holidays in Switzerland. So although I just bought the brand, I went for 2 weeks to Saint-Tropez, south of France, and I went to a restaurant on the beach called Club 55. I said to my wife and to my kids, if I see one customer, one client in this restaurant, on the beach restaurant, where you had maybe 800 people eating, if I see one, and please, kids, go around the restaurant like if you would go to the toilet and look on the wrists of the people. And you tell me who has a human the wrist. In 2004, 0. In 2005, we did the same exercise, 0. In 2006, the kids reported, this guy, this guy, this guy. There were 3 people. What did I do? To those 3 people, they were sitting on the table. One was with 4 other people, the other one with 8, and then there was one even with 12. I said to the owner, to Patrice, the owner of Club 55, these 3 tables. Please pay them all the bill. Anything, whatever champagne they took, whatever whiskey they drank, I don't care. Pay the whole bill and say it's the owner of Hublot who wants to congratulate you for wearing his watch. That was a promotion, and it has cost me maybe 20 meals. So what? That's nothing. And this is a very personal sponsoring with very little money, but a big respect. So you see, you can adapt your sponsoring depending on your size, depending how big you are, depending how much money you have just to adapt. And I think the promotion we did with these watches that we gave away in Restaurant Club 55, and I did this till 2017. When I retired in 2018, I stopped. But till 2017, we were doing this every year. Every year, that you could not go to Club 55 without me paying the bill, not for you, but for the whole table. Whatever you had, caviar, champagne, whatever, I paid the bill. And sometimes my wife said to me, you can stop doing this. Some people, they come just because they want the free meal. It's not true, by the way.
It's a great story, Jean-Claude, great story. And thank you for sharing this, because it adds, to the millions of great topics that we can discuss with somebody like yourself. I have to thank you for your time. It's been already an hour, and we will do it again. We have a second episode of this second series coming soon. And again, after every episode, we will have a session like this of Q&A, which I hope, Jean-Claude, you enjoyed. I did very much, for sure. You were showing, sorry, last thing, your watch. Normally, serious podcasts, they do the wrist check at the very beginning. So you're wearing a Recep.
Yes!
You're one of the...
friend with Mr. from Rolex, and the other friend is Recep. And I love his watch. Him.
For sure. For sure. We came too late for Recep, unfortunately, but we admire his work very, very much. I am wearing a Horage Tourbillon. Horage, obviously, one of the very strong suppliers, formerly suppliers, and now they've launched their own brand. They do really well. So Tourbillon for 7,000 Swiss francs, Jean-Claude, made in Biel. So it's an interesting story. Interesting story. Jean-Claude, thank you ever so much. Thanks everybody for following and listening to this. This broadcast will be available on our channel, on our YouTube and Instagram TV channel for the future. And stay connected with us, because there will be more Jean-Claude Biver. As you know, it's a new beginning now for Jean-Claude, and there's some exciting times to be lived together. Jean-Claude, merci beaucoup. Thanks a lot. And I shall see you at the next one.
Thank you very much. Very soon. Huh? Ciao.
You take care. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao, ciao.